So I'm watching Donald Trump at the NABJ, and he's being interviewed by Rachel Scott of ABC. And let me tell you, Rachel Scott has hated Trump for a long time now. And this isn't the first time these two have met.
So appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
Certainly a time to shine in a crowded field, Eva.
And speaking of a time to shine, can we just take a moment this morning? This is Rachel's first time on GMA. She's been part of our ABC family for several years now, but we are so happy to have you working with us now. Welcome to the team, Rachel.
Excited to be here. Thank you, Eva.
Rachel would then go on to be used by liberal media to go after Donald Trump during the COVID crisis.
10 states hit a record number of new coronavirus cases. ABC's Rachel Scott joins us with more. Rachel, good morning.
So I asked the president, is this sufficient funding to help struggling businesses?
If tens of billions of dollars went in a matter of days the first time, will this next relief package be enough?
Certainly, it's going to get us to a point that's going to be rather beautiful. We think that that will be the point, and it could be they want more, but maybe at a certain point we're going to stop.
Leader McCarthy said they're now considering also adding more funding for hospitals.
I'm with that all the way. If they want to add hospitals, we could also add it into phase 4 if we do a phase 4.
Nearly 10% of the loans that were given out were for $5 million, but some small business owners say they can't even get a loan for $100,000. Is that acceptable?
Well, they would get that, but they have to approve it. Nobody knew it was going to be this successful. It's been a tremendous success. It's been executed flawlessly.
Legal action is brought against you on this. Why not just work with Congress on this deal?
Well, I'm not saying they're not going to come back and negotiate. They might very well come back and negotiate.
When will this relief get in the hands of Americans that need it? What date?
We think it's going to be very rapid. We want it to be very rapid. It's going to be distributed in a way that, whichever the fastest way, there are various methods, and it will be rapidly distributed.
But you're signing an executive order today, and Americans want to know when they're going to see this relief.
Very soon. They're going to see it very soon. Look.
Very soon. 30 million Americans are out of work, sir.
Excuse me. There it is right there. Leave for an emergency phone call. I'm going to let Scott and Larry finish that. Larry's going to talk about so I'll be back. I will see you tomorrow.
Mr. President, just one more question on Breonna Taylor. We're at a time right now where Americans feel like we are on this carousel.
I have a big
Mr.
call.
President, just one more question if I can on Breonna Taylor. People are protesting in the streets. What is your message to them? People feel like we are on this carousel where another black life is being taken.
So here we have Dr. Scott Atlas. And
Rachel even wore blue during her interview with Donald Trump at the NABJ convention.
But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do?
Tonight, in an often contentious forum before the National Association of Black Journalists, former President Donald Trump challenging Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity. It came after I asked Trump about his supporters' attacks on Harris as a, quote, DEI hire. DEI being short for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always identified as a black woman.
I respect either one. I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't. because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be.
Harris is both the first black woman and the first Asian American to serve as vice president. She graduated from Howard University, is a member of a historically black sorority, and when she was elected senator, she joined the Congressional Black Caucus. Tonight, the White House calling Trump's words insulting.
What you just read out to me is repulsive, it's insulting, and, no one has any right to tell someone who they are.
I also asked Trump about his pledge to pardon those convicted in the January 6th riot.
When Time magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day, like about 5 days ago.
Trump then talking about the recent anti-Israel protests in Washington, protesters defacing monuments. But I asked him again, would he pardon the January 6 rioters convicted of assaulting police officers?
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just they were convicted by a very tough system.
David, tonight the Harris campaign is not directly responding to those attacks from former President Donald Trump on Harris's racial identity, but they did release this statement saying, quote, the hostility Donald Trump showed on stage today is the same hostility he has shown throughout his life, throughout his term in office, and throughout his campaign for president. They add, Trump has already proven he cannot unite America, so he attempts to divide us. David.
Rachel Scott, among the moderators asking the questions today. Rachel, thank you.
Rachel, you were at the rally on Saturday reporting for ABC News when the attempted assassination happened. Tell us what it was like to be there and what you experienced. Were you scared? Did you hear the noise? What happened?
Yeah, Joy, it was terrifying. And to be honest with you, it's something that I'm still processing right now, 72 hours later. We walked into that rally and one of our campaign embeds pointed out just the short distance that we were to the former president. Our press riser was just about 100 feet away from where the former president was speaking at the podium. We were up on the press riser, had just finished doing World News Tonight, and I was standing there, and then all of a sudden you just hear these popping sounds. Pop, 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 pop. It's almost like you thought it was a firecracker or something. And then everyone in the crowd started screaming, started yelling, shots fired, get down, get down. I encouraged my colleague next to me from CBS to get down on the ground. My security yanked me down off the press riser, and that's when we took cover. I had an incredible colleague from NBC, Jake Traylor, who shielded me in those moments. And in those moments, there's so many things that go through your head, right? I mean, it maybe was only a couple of seconds, but it felt like time really slowed down, and you start playing this what if game. What if there's a gunman on the loose? What if there was someone walking through the crowd? Is someone shooting from overhead? Is this in fact gunfire, what we're hearing? And I will tell you, I've covered almost every single rally that Donald Trump has had this election cycle. You feel so safe going to rallies with the former president because of the amount of Secret Service and law enforcement presence that is there. And so just to have something like this unfold was almost unthinkable. We're often responding to things after they already happen. I've certainly covered mass shootings after they've happened, but never before have I been involved in an active shooter scenario. Little girls and women of color all across this nation who have felt counted out, who have felt like they have not been represented in politics, who have been told to just stand by and wait their turn, that will now feel like they have a seat at the table. And that is what makes this moment so much larger than politics, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much.